Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with episode 2 of the Casting Couch. Over here, we want to introduce a guest. His name is AirTrek. AirTrek?
AirTrek,
AirTrek? Fuck
yeah.
yeah, AirTrek. I fucked
AirTrek.
that up. I didn't want to call him by his actual name, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, I know his name," but fuck that shit. But yeah, he goes by the name of AirTrek. I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. Just swing that mic over there to him
All
and
right,
talk
y'all.
talk into it.
Just have a YouTube channel. Started like a past few months ago, and I've been uploading recently a lot more. Um, Recently I've been getting more into YouTube is because I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of introspection I've been doing, and I've been inspired by a lot of YouTubers such as Sneeko and streamers like Destiny. And I don't know. I just want to get my word out there.
Fire, fire, fire. Yeah, and we got our obviously the co-host Nikki Season over here. Nikki Season, say what's up to everybody.
What's going on, gentlemen? Sorry, that was a little bit improper of me. Hope everyone having a fantastic day. Feels great to be back. For those who don't know, this is actually take 2 of episode 2. We had some technical difficulties last time, but that's not stopping us. You adapt, you improvise, and overcome, and we're here to finesse this episode. I'm excited. I was just catching up because these boys have been here for a little bit. I'm just trying to catch up on the questions that are being asked, and I'm ready to get going, man. I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Fuck yeah. So
Wait,
yeah,
I'm the co-host.
he is the
Okay,
co-host.
okay, yeah.
So it's awesome to have him here, but also we have our guest here, AirTrek. So nonetheless, though, our
For sure, for
content,
sure, for sure.
we're trying to go down the route of talking about whatever the fuck we want, and we're gonna obviously have key things to not say because we're gonna be on YouTube. But nonetheless, boys, don't say the keywords. I
Yep.
guess
Yeah.
things that are
That we
just
discussed last time.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we're going down rabbit holes that all y'all probably more than likely enjoy hearing about. So let's talk about some topics first.
Start us off, Spade. Start us off.
For sure. So, topic number 1. We're gonna go off of should you fear someone in order to respect them? So the reason why I wrote this question nonetheless was because I was thinking about in the sense of God in Minecraft because a lot of things well, not a lot of things, sorry. God is in Minecraft has said to be a feared and an almighty deity that you kind of don't want to go against because they can smite you. And a deity in most pop culture is depicted as something that just can fucking change reality from the flick of their fingers, right? And so the reason why I kind of just wanted to go into this question was because is it okay to fear something? Well, is it okay to respect something that you fear, or and this can also go into aspects about like working and having a boss. We all know that we respect our boss, but in reality, low key, there's an underlying fear factor there, right? Because you might be scared that they're gonna fire you. You might be scared that, oh, maybe if I say this joke a little too, a very impulsive joke, am I gonna cross the line with them? Are they gonna get pissed off at me? And could I risk the risk of me losing my job nonetheless, right? And so this question was a really hot one. So what y'all thinking so far? Let's go with Nikki first over here, the co-host.
Um, I think that's a great question. I think the first thing that pops into my mind is, working in the corporate world and having that positional leader. And I say positional leader because when you're entering a new environment for such a like working a 9 to 5, you already have a boss, right? So a positional leader is something that you have no choice but to not respect this person, but perceive them as your boss because they are in that position, hence the word positional leader. And from my experience and what I've been able to experience through this lifetime is that there's some people that follow, not even follow, kind of sit in the shadows of that type of positional leader simply because of fear, right? So for instance, I'm working in a sales team. I work with a sales team. The sales positional leader that was there before me, they sold out of fear. And there's a difference of selling out of fear than selling out of inspiration. So I think when it comes to respect, I don't know if it's necessarily, when it comes to fear, I don't know if it's necessarily the word respect that we're looking for. It's more of they're in fear of losing their job. So they're going to be in compliance to what their workforce is asking for them. To speak something a little bit more, specifically like working in a job, you want to be able to follow or meet the guidelines to stay within the market that you're in. So if you're in sales, you're working a job, blah 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 blah. You want to do what it takes to work your job because you don't want to work another job. I mean, sorry, you don't want to be fired. You want to be able to be in compliance and not put yourself in a position of I have to go find another job now, which is super inconvenient for you. So a lot of people will do stuff out of fear by their positional leader. If that makes sense, it's quite of a ramble, but essentially having a boss. Actually, we're gonna cut that. Go ahead. That's what I gotta say for now.
AirTrek, go ahead.
Should you fear someone in order to respect them? In terms of the corporate world, I think you do need fear to put people in order. You need people to stay grounded because I'm not going to lie, based off of my own experiences, I'm one of those people that need to be grounded from time to time where I am talking to people and I'm being very friendly with others. But when you are putting fear into someone, you are putting them in place and you're setting boundaries for someone. And, at the end of the day, you shouldn't need to put fear in someone in order to respect them. But also there are people that are outliers in this world that just don't understand how to just respect guidelines in order like just they just need people to put them in their place. And for me, like I had to learn it the hard way. There were times where I was called into office because of like some crazy shit I said, like talking about polygamy and all that to my coworkers, and they fucking put me into place for that. And when it comes to fear, if anyone's ever watched The Bronx Tale, they always talked about this one line: is it better to be loved or to be feared? In fear, like in terms of fear, you need fear for work. You need fear to get things done. But in terms of like love or respect, well, no. Let me say this. In terms of fear, you do need fear in the workplace. You need fear to respect. But in terms of love, love can be unconditional within family guidelines. Um, Shit, I don't even know. You might even have to cut this one too. I lost my train of
No.
thought.
You got me. You got me. No. I'm good now. I got it. So thanks for saying that. And actually, it takes a couple of words or inspiration through other people, right, to get where you got going. But I think let's reassess this question. Say it one more time for us, and let's get this segment going again.
So, right here, the number one question is: should you fear someone in order to respect them?
Boom. So I think that me as a businessman working sales, finance, or whatnot, working with money and understanding that success is a system, I think that there's a lot of emotion that come into play when it comes to being a part of a business or a part of corporate. And I think when it comes to fear, the word fear, I don't think there should be a thing as fear because it's like, why the fuck are you tying in your emotions to what you're doing? You're fucking working a job. Are you, and like, excuse my language, and I understand, oh, you're not a robot, you're not this and that, but you got to understand what you're working for is a system. Businesses do not care about your feelings. Whether you feel like you're in fear, whether you are inspired, they care about generating profit and revenue for that company to continue on forward with or without you. So for me, it's like I think even now realizing that people are super emotional, they just got to realize like, are you disciplined enough to do your job or are you not disciplined enough to do your job? As a boss, as your manager or positional leader, superior, whatever it may be, in my leadership, I'm gonna tell you how it is simply because we're running a fucking business here. And do you have what it takes to sell X amount to meet quota? Or do you not? Or do I have to find somebody else to take your position to meet quota for us? So that's what I see it as now.
Let me add in another thing. Jeff Bezos for Amazon, for example, he implemented this work idea strategy where within 3 years, the Amazon truck drivers would usually get fired because he realizes that a lot of the human workers that work in his company usually become complacent over time. Over time, workflow goes down and people do the bare minimum to do work, which is why he's always like going OD with the rules because he knows that if he doesn't get these people out of the way, eventually they're gonna produce less work and he's gonna need new people that are more inspired. And I think with the strict guidelines of the rules too, I think these lines will actually it's kind of a double-edged sword, but if you put fear into someone, you're actually inspiring them to work harder, which is something Jeff Bezos does, which I see is like kind of a tactic that is needed to run a company at the end of the day. Like you need workers, you need them at 100. You can't just have them doing 50 or the bare minimum, because like you don't always get the progress you want. And I mean, yeah, That's
Yeah,
what you need.
I don't want it to be seen like I 100% I agree, but I also don't want it to be like, oh yeah, you need fear to run. Like no, like you just got to do your job. Like what do you mean you need fear? Like you're either going to be able to do your job or someone else is going to take your position of doing that. Like same thing when it comes to sales, football, anything, right? If you can't do your job, someone else will replace you and do it better. And I don't think fear needs to tell you that. I think if you just have the awareness that, okay, I'm replaceable, everyone is replaceable, that I'm not going to I have to put my, I got to show my value within the marketplace so I know that I'm not going to be replaced.
So you guys don't think that
I think there should be another word. I don't think fear should exist in like respect, in terms of like your workplace.
all right, how about this?
I don't think you need to be fearful
How about
in order
this?
to be respected.
How about your parents? I think we've grown up in households where you probably gotten disciplined at one point in time. And so a discipline factor, let's say you break something and your mom gets mad at you. You obviously respect her, but you know that because you broke that thing, she's about to beat your ass. So you are fearful that she's gonna fuck you up. So do you think that maybe that one the fear factor is kind of a key component into the reason why you respect your mother and you'll never, I guess, act out of line. You'll never, act in that threshold of, if you pass the line in this threshold, you're going to get fucked up. And if you stay below the threshold, you're going to, mitigate the risks of you getting that ass whooping,
Give me time to think about this. Can we go?
you
I
know?
mean, yeah. So I think just not necessarily with that specific example. Um, in sports, bro, I don't fear anything that's in front of me, right? For the boxing match, I did not fear that guy. However, I'm a good sport. I respected the man. I can respect anybody that goes in the rings, put on the gloves, and want to throw hands. You know what I mean? But I have no fear in that. So, like, the reason why I say that is because the question is, should you fear someone in order to respect them? No, not necessarily. I don't have to fear this man, this woman in order to respect them. I think it's like you could respect their character, but fear I don't know. I don't think the word is fear. I don't think you need fear to respect anybody. I think it's just a matter of their character and understanding who they are as a person. Because for me, breaking down that question even more, that gentleman that I fought in the ring, why did I respect him? I respected him not because I feared him. I respected him because he was able to go toe to toe with me. He was able to put his hands up and fight another man in front of him. Does that make sense? And so, well, let me go back to what your original analogy was, just to answer the question. My mom, was I scared of her? Yeah, but hell yeah. But outside of that, it's like I'm still gonna respect her even if she's not. Even if I'm not in fear of her. You know what I mean? I think it's just a level of when you sell to somebody, right? You're selling an idea, a product, or a service. She's selling the idea that she wants to beat my ass. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm gonna buy into that or not. So it's just like I just respect with or without the fear. And I just want to say that maybe I don't see it as fear, and maybe I just substitute that word with something else.
All right, what about you, AirTrek, sorry.
Man, yeah. So I don't really know. Like I've been thinking about this a lot. In terms of corporate world, things are conditional at the end of the day. But when it comes to parental love, it's unconditional love. So even if you strike fear into someone, I'm afraid of my mom to this day. Like it's not getting hurt, but if I do something wrong, the fear of losing her love is what the fear of it is. But I feel like I've seen it a lot within like bad kids. They have unconditional love for their mother, right? But they don't listen to their mother because they know that their mother, I don't know, like they set up things that aren't fair to them, but there's still love for them because they know the mother provides for them. I think the idea of the word fear between a relationship in a mother and a son is just too. It's too loose. It's too loose. There's more to it. It's more complex than that, and I don't really know how to answer it. But even if I disobey my mother, like my unconditional love for her is still there because she's done a lot for me.
But you guys are getting mixed up from love and respect right now. We came to the consensus that it is a co-factor, well, coexisting factors with moral code, fear, but I ultimately do believe that you need fear in order to respect someone. Uh, Nonetheless, let's move to question number two. So, question number two, put this up on the screen, please. The future for most Gen Zs and younger millennials. I'm gonna let you guys go first.
All right. Let's freestyle off the dome. Um, when I first thought of this, my mind was just very based, just saying, oh, I'm gonna see a bunch of blue-haired, pronouns, liberals with septum piercings, running around, screaming at each other, um, having less sex, not getting into labels, but then trying to conform into some sort of label. It's very hypocritical. But I think the future for most Gen Zs, it's gonna be. I think we're gonna find an identity soon enough. I think we will soon enough. Right now, we're at the age where it's weak men create no. Good men create weak times, and we're at the stage where weak times is eventually going to go into you know, bad times, where bad times make war and all that. And out of that comes a new formed identity. All right. Now, I think the reason why Gen Z is so focused on, identity right now is because of the influx of new immigrants, the melting pot. We have more social media, so we have more influence on self, emphasis on self. Um, I think eventually we'll disagree to a point where we're gonna have to fight, and out of that fight, there's gonna be a new identity. And I am I am more optimistic than I used to be because I realized that Gen Z kept fighting, but eventually the fighting has to go somewhere. The fighting has to lead us to some sort of chaos, and that chaos has to come out with a new light. Um, I don't know. The younger millennials. What do you mean younger millennials? Like the ones right now?
So apparently, I'm considered a millennial because I was
A
born in
millennial.
'99.
So for our generation,
Yeah, basically, younger millennials, and then the Gen Zs that are old enough to fucking make conceptual
okay.
ideas.
So there's two ways you can go out like this. All of us just go out blazing hot, like we're gonna go like full AOC, where we're just gonna be like, okay, this old government right here is all fucked up. We're gonna go full radical because we want change that badly. Or we're gonna become nihilistic. We're gonna realize that a lot of the political institutions, all the people online aren't willing to make change, and I guess the world burns.
I'll pass that to you. I don't have much to say on this one
Gotcha.
unless you spark something in me.
Gotcha. I do believe that younger millennials, and Gen Zs right now, specifically Gen Z. This is what I've read. I read apparently Gen Z is actually really good financially with saving money, and that's because they were able to grow up seeing a lot more of their family members and us being the older versions of our generation make a lot of bad financial decisions. And so they were like, okay, I can see where this leads you. I can see where this can lead me in the future. And so because of that, I'm just gonna refrain from making that same fucking decision that they made and save my money actually. And so I do find that Gen Z is going to be one of the. It's probably not going to be on the same level as the boomers because the baby boomers are a fucking special. They're a special generation, and honestly, they've got the opportunity of leaps that we're gonna like set them up for generations, which is the result now. Nonetheless, though, Gen Z, I think they're gonna probably set themselves up and future, which is what I think Gen Y, to also be in a position like the baby boomers financially. And so, in regards to social aspects and political, I do believe that we're gonna go down a time of like confusion. We're already in fucking confused times.
Let me ask you this: do you believe millennials are the down baddest generations of all generations? Because you're saying we're the rebound. We're the rebound. We're starting back up again. Are you saying millennials were the down bad of all generations so far?
Yeah, definitely. They're fucking down bad. If you like a lot of millennials, the older millennials, I see that they're broke. They can't buy houses.
Are they the ones like living the Seinfeld life, like
Correct.
35 years old in an apartment?
Correct. They're the
Okay.
30-year-olds.
Did they go through the crack period too?
No,
The crack
they
era?
weren't in the crack
Okay,
era.
okay. All right. Yeah, they're pretty down bad.
They are down
Yeah.
bad.
I don't know what happened, but I guess I don't know, man. Something about them, like the entitlement. They thought they could live the city life. Something, something about that made them realize later on that not having a family and 40 years old in an apartment with a roommate is not fulfilling. And I think a lot of us realize that because we realize that, you know, I think especially with social media, we kind of realize how these these systems come up. Like we talk about red pill, right? Red pill isn't like just something that came up out of nowhere, you know. Feminism came up from the millennials, all right? And we realized that there was like a turning point where feminism kind of came too far, or there was just not enough people talking about men's like mental health or things that were needed to talk about, and in turn those things were shunned. And now our generation is picking it back up, but I think we're more balanced. We're not gonna go like where feminism went with millennials. We're gonna go maybe like men's movement, but also realize that we might have our own mistakes. We're gonna be more balanced, and I think we're kind of the stepping stone for the next generation, like Gen Alpha and all that. Um, Kind of like what you're saying too. I don't know if you really agree with me, but feel free to build off of that.
Well, I do find that the younger generation have been showing a lot more signs of being conservative than they are liberal at points and certain based on certain opinions and topics, right? Overall, though, I do think they're liberal. I do think that they resonate with the millennials, and I do feel like that they more co-align, not co-align, but they're more they're so they're left enough that if they reach out, they're gonna touch the right, right? And so they're not so left like the millennials being fucking weirdos, but they're far enough and close enough to the middle where they can actually touch the right.
Okay.
And so
Let me ask you this other question. Just past the politics. I don't know. I've been curious about this. Yeah, so I've been curious about this. Um, the study showed that as generations went on, we had less and less sex. Are you worried about the next generation having even less sex?
less sex to have children, yes.
Just less sex in general.
Why do you care?
The only reason why I do care for us to not have enough sex and have children is because the more we don't have children, the less likely we're gonna have a future, or our generations are gonna have a future. Like we're not gonna exist anymore if people don't have kids anymore. And so this is also I think this can kind of breed into another thought that I was having recently, which was like marriage is kind of dead. And I've recently have been seeing some people that I grew up with that have recently gotten married, and it's been a good sign. And I was kind of looking at it like, wow, this is fucking great because marriage isn't completely dead. And with marriage, there comes a whole consorptions of ideas and nonetheless, I feel like the more people that are getting married, that is a direct reflection of the ideals of the country. The less likely that people are getting married on the general population is also still a reflection of the general population. And the general population is really caught up in this idea of individualism, and that can also co-align with a lot of people starting to pick up on identity. Like we get it. You want to go out, you want to be independent, you don't want to feel like somebody has a right over you as a woman, or a man doesn't want to be held down by certain boundaries that a relationship brings. But nonetheless, I hope y'all understand that you don't have kids, the less people that exist within this country, you're going to end up like Japan. You're going to end up like China, an influx of on people, of old people. Too much old people and not enough young people. It's so bad to the point in Japan where there are more men, more young men in Japan than there are young women. And so they have to resort to prostitution. and that's no country should have to go down that lane of you know what, I can't date, and I'm gonna have to date outside the country. The government's literally fucking paying people to come into their country to have kids, and America only has 300 million people.
Care. Like that's a great point. Thank you for teaching me something.
Yeah. And so 300 million people, we don't even have that much people in this country. 300 million is so small compared to everyone else. And so the more that goes down, because the less children that are actually being born in this country, the less likely America is going to be America.
I agree, but marriage ain't dead. I'm dating an immigrant, and she's on that timing, and that's gonna continue happening.
But you guys are Americans though, right? Well, you're an American.
I'm American,
You're an
yeah,
American.
but
She's immigrant.
she's immigrant, but she's on the immigrant timing. I grew up with the immigrant timing too. Yeah, I grew up with the conservative timing. Like get married at like maybe 27, have children right away. Like I'm on that type of timing. Same thing again. I think marriage is dead for the West, but maybe the Western ideas will change within the next 10, 15 years if we come to our senses. I don't know.
So do you think that actually, never mind. Let me not ask because we're gonna keep going down a rabbit hole. Nonetheless, I think this question is a very packed one.
Well, hold on, because we're getting into the question of marriage and children. How about you answer first the future for most Gen Zs and younger millennials? Let's get back to that question.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to like pause on the
Yeah.
marriage thing. Millennials, I think they're going down this hole of like they're gonna be down bad, broke, most of them. And if not, it's gonna be high extremes. So I think they're gonna obviously pick up the roles of the CEOs, CFOs. They're gonna be very rich, very very rich, but the average amount of millennials are gonna be broke. That's my opinion. That's from what I see. And in regards to ideals and social aspects, uh, yes, they're obviously going to be. I actually think Gen Z is going to be more into politics than millennials themselves, and I think they're actually a lot more educated than millennials on a lot more topics because they're a lot more exposed to the internet, and if anything, they're a lot more well versed on the internet. Um, I A lot of people will argue with me and say, "Well, Gen Z is actually very fucking lazy." Yes, right now. That's because they're very young. But I think they're also realizing the older they get, they don't want to end up like a millennial. And the older they get, the more they're saving, better than the millennials. And the older they get, they're more starting to realize, hey, let me just stay with my parents, save up, and then I'll move out when I'm ready. Not when I just want to have my own independent home like the millennials ended up doing. Very young age. They all fucking moved out the crib and now look at them. They're down bad. I can't buy a house. The economy's too high. Well, yeah, buddy, you're going to have to wait now. Well, most of us are going to have to, we're going to reap the benefits. The younger millennials and the Gen Zs. We're going to reap the benefits. No cap.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even have much to say. You said what I said.
It makes sense to me.
Got you. I'm going to have a lot of people in the comments tear my ass up, but I want to hear it.
No, no, no. I just see a bunch of okay. So from my common experience, I work with a bunch of older people, all right, and all these older people, right? They're 30 years old, 30 to 35, maybe pushing 40, right? They're single and they're talking about their dating lives, and they're too consumed into work, and I think that's what the millennial generation focused on. They're like, I want to be individual, I want to be making money, I want to be like that. That's all they put their focus on. They wanted success and a career, but I guess they figured out later that that's not where fulfillment was. And now I guess it's too late for them because they're down in that rabbit hole. Now you're like 30 or 35, and it's too late. You're not in your prime anymore. Now you're stuck living in an apartment with a roommate, and you gotta live day by day instead of, I don't know, maybe employing money into your IRA account and maybe living off in Epstein's island, just living happily ever after, I guess, with the rest of the millennials.
And boomers, because they love that island.
Yeah.
So let's
Minecraft.
in Minecraft, by the way. Yeah. So let's move on to our third question. So the third question is, let me just bring them off. Up. What is everyone's identity here? Like, what do you identify as? That's we're already on the topic in the Gen Z land. You know what I'm saying?
I
What is
hate
everyone's
that
identity?
That's like, I don't even know if hate is like the thing. It's just like, why is that a question?
Let me answer this.
I don't get it.
You know what it is?
Oh God.
When I was like a few years ago, I was like, liberals especially are so obsessed with labels, and I wanted to be anti-establishment, anti-label so bad that every time I heard this question, I was like, bro, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, like it's what I do that really matters. It's the personality that matters. But I came to the realization that the things you do, like whether you like it or not, your ideas in politics, people will label you, will put you into a specific label. Like whether or not you like abortion or not. If you like abortion, like they're gonna put you in the left, and you're gonna be labeled the left whether you like it or not. If you don't, like, you're gonna be conservative. So my identity, my identity,
Break it down for me. Go
shit.
from like political, race, which you identify as your fucking gender. Well, whatever else you want to add in regards to the gender
All
part,
right,
but just go down the list of what you, AirTrek, what do you identify as when they look at you and they call your name or you write your name on a pamphlet. Like, what are you like? This is me.
all
This
right.
is definitely the
Let
person
me
that
say
I
this.
am.
So when it comes to politics, I am like, I guess I lean more towards the centrist left, but I really don't want to identify myself with either sides because I realize a lot of these like politics are just a game. They're like football, all right? You just go against each other because you do, and you don't really believe in a lot of the ideas. And if you do, then you're just dick riding because you're more nuanced than that. Um, I'm an Asian American. My family came from communist Vietnam, so when they came over here, just kept telling me about like war torn stories about how they came from boats and all that. And I guess we're communist K over here. We're communist K, freaking anti CCP. Yo, our flag showed up on January 6th, which is, I mean, like, shit. We made it, but not in the right way, I guess. Um, I don't know that their worldview shaped me a lot as a person because I grew up around and I went to school in a mostly liberal manner. I learned a lot of things, but I also realized that growing up the way I did, um, I don't know. I just learned to shit. I'm lost for words, man. I don't know. I feel like we should have like you should have given us this like a day before to really think about it, because this is a lot to unpack.
I don't really know if I give a fuck. Like, I'm so serious. Like, like I, to be honest, I feel like this could be a very broad question, right? Like, especially like people being super sensitive now on social media. Like, oh, I identify as this and that. Me, like, I don't give a fuck what you identify as. Like, and it really doesn't matter to me. I really don't care. I don't know what a follow up question would be to that. It's not that I'm insensitive, but I really couldn't care less about what you identify as. Does that make sense? Like you could be a tree, a giraffe, a man, it, they, them. I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. I don't know why it has like it doesn't make sense to me why I should care, right? Like in terms of my workplace or anything, like I guess in a sense of okay, if I'm working with you and you want to be called this or that, I don't know. It hasn't happened to me yet. Will I be in compliance? I don't know. I'll call you by your name, right? It makes sense to me, but like I'm not gonna confuse myself and reprogram my programming to make sense of what you want in your lifestyle. That doesn't mean I don't respect you. I'm gonna call you by your name because that's your name, right? So I mean, but then they could be like, oh, but I'm a girl because I'm a girl. But I don't know. I really don't think I give a fudge.
But like, what do you like when somebody asks
You talking
you?
about me though?
Yeah,
I just didn't
you
want to make it about
personally.
me
Yeah, I
personally.
mean, fine, but
Let
let's
me
make
let
it
me
about
ask you this. Let me
yourself.
ask you this.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Hold on, hold on. Let him. I
All
want
right,
to. I want
yeah,
to
yeah,
hear
yeah.
what
I want
he
to point something out.
his
Not,
his.
that's a good one.
What's
No,
your
go ahead, go ahead.
personal?
No, no, go ahead. We'll have like
Do you?
dialogue.
All right, fine. Go ahead.
I think the reason why you have a bad association with this question is because you see too much of these NPCs online that put too much emphasis on their self-worth, which actually devalues their groundness, and you don't want to associate yourself answering that question. But at the end of the day, there are things about your identity, such as being Asian American, that
Yeah. Okay, so
influences how you
that's
think.
okay. So like
So let's start
the
off with that.
actual source, the source. Yeah, I'm Asian American, not from Vietnam, but I'm from Cambodia. So I have the same boat stories from my grandma and grandparents as well. Yeah,
Genocide.
absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, like, I don't. I feel like it's not about us. It's about the ideal and the question, right? Like that's why we're having these conversations to influence and educate other people who are watching this podcast, right? It's not to give you information about myself. It's about to How could we get to the source of what a certain problem is, and what's the cause and effect of this, and how could we change it, and how could we rise from this, or whatever it is, whatever the question is. But this question specifically, I don't think y'all give a fuck about who I am. I think it's more about the principle, and why is this a matter in today's society where people give a fuck about what your identity is, right? Because you're saying that people really care. I think branding is a thing too, but I don't think it's centered to identity, and what you're called or whatnot. I think everyone has their own brand and what they stand for, their morals or whatnot. But for myself, it's like, what's your identity? Uh, Fuck, dude. I don't know. I believe I'm a strong man, and I believe I just want to live a life worth living. Right?
That's an identity. What are okay? Let me ask you this: what are some pieces of you that you have built up to your identity that you're proud of?
Would Can I
Like being a
say?
strong man, being a football
Yeah,
player.
yeah. I'd say like, I
That's
mean,
part of your identity.
yeah, I mean, man, I still don't think that fucking matters though. Like at the end of the day, like I think I guess characteristics, right? Maybe I'm thinking too deep. I don't even think I'm thinking too deep, bro. I think I'm just thinking at this like from a different perspective. I think confidence for sure, but I think the way that I'm thinking about this is just like how other people identify, and I'm just trying to understand why they get so butthurt about it. You know what I mean? Like people's perceptions of me, I'm not responsible for, so I don't give a fuck what you think that I'm calling myself or whatnot. You know what I mean? Because people are like, you got to call me this, you got to call me that. Like, why? Why do you care about what this person calls me? You know, does that make sense?
So are you? So you're fine with whatever I perceive you
What?
as?
Yeah, what am I gonna do about it? Complain?
Okay.
What am I gonna complain, dude?
I that's disingenuous. You do care about how people think of you, all right? If Andy thinks of you in some sort of way and you disagree with it, I need you to tell it right now.
Yeah. So
So
okay.
tell
So
us.
so I'll say this, bro. Right? I can only control the controllables, right? For me, it makes sense. Of course, I care about what other people care about me, right? I wear clothes, I get haircuts, I get earrings, glasses, or whatnot. But like, why does it for a man to care about? I give a fuck about what women think about me. I don't give a fuck about what the man next to me does. If there's really a problem, I can throw hands. Like that's the solution, cause and effect to certain things. The cause is he doesn't give a fuck about me, wants to talk shit. Okay, what's the effect? We throw hands. Like I feel like it's just super simple. It doesn't really need to be like that deep. So your follow up.
Nikki's a strong, independent man, and he wants to show it instead of say it.
Yeah, I mean, like I just feel like people are so emotional, dude. Like even in sports, I really don't talk a lot of shit. Like we had a game last night, for instance. I completely blindsided this guy. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna blindside me?" I said, "Yeah. What are you gonna do about it?" It didn't say anything. Like just I don't know. Action. We of course we all know. Just it makes sense. Like you're gonna talk and then what? Like what sense does that make?
So you live in your identity. Your identity is what you
Yeah,
portray through your
yeah,
actions.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah. That does that not make sense? Like that makes sense, bro. Like why am I gonna talk about it?
It's different than just
Like
saying
okay,
it.
so think about this. I'm dope in social media and in real life. Like you know me in both ways, and you'll really see, right? So that's how I see it.
Right, so it's better than just like, hey, this is what I am, so, and then like I have to like be like, oh, you're contradicting what you told me, what you identify as, because the way that you're acting. But you are saying that the way I act is exactly what I identify as. Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair point,
Okay.
nonetheless. Um, my answer to this, I guess, I fucking hate being called an American. No cap. I hate it. I don't fucking know why. I just hate
Mm.
saying like I was having a conversation the other day with a customer, and they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm Hispanic. I'm from DR and PR." He's like, "Okay, were you born over there? What part of DR were you born on?" And born in. I said in Minecraft. I said I was actually born in America. And he's like, "Oh, so you're an American?" I'm like, no, motherfucker, I'm Hispanic. And he's looking at me like, no, you're born in America, you're American. I'm like, all right, whatever, bro. It's whatever, bro.
This
But
identity thing's so difficult, bro. Cause I like,
get closer,
they call me American.
closer to the mic.
Yeah, they call me American. But I consider myself Asian American. But it's kind of the same thing, cause over here, okay, so I talk to a lot of international students, right? They consider me American because over there, when they're in China or like in their own prospective countries, they don't think about being Asian. So when I'm over here, I say I'm Asian American because, let's say I'm talking to you. I mean, I mean, we're both American, but you know what you said. Yeah, like you consider me not American. You're like, oh, where am I from? I'm from Asia. So I'm like this specific type. Yeah, this specific source. So like it is kind of difficult to identify yourself here because I mean, like look at the Italians. Over time, like they're saying they're fifth generation Italian, right? But now they conform to the American identity, and some of us are afraid to conform to that American identity because we find our source so sacred, our source so beautiful that we want to identify with it so bad that even saying like Asian American isn't something that we find that appealing.
I guess in the realms of this conversation and identity, how about I think you
No, that
spotted towards a good segue within the same question. So like because they're fifth generation Italians, they are so fucking far away from being Italian from its very roots. So they're not even Italian anymore at that point, right? They're fucking American. So would you say that somebody who was probably a first generation or maybe even a second generation, because you still are getting like the remnants of your parents still, like they're still teaching you the roots of from wherever they're from. Would you still be considered an American at that point, or would you be like, no, that person is from wherever the fuck they're from because they're actually learning the mannerisms. They get direct contact from the root, and they're not so indoctrined within the quote unquote American.
No cap. Okay, so I thought about this a lot. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's say like three generations down, it really doesn't matter. We're all gonna become American. We're all gonna forget our birth language unless most of the population is Hispanic and we're all listening to Bad Bunny, like talking in Spanish and all that. Then, I mean, I guess like we can make an argument, but you know what it is? It really depends because America picks out the trendy cultures. Think about the food pasta. Everyone loves pasta. That was originally Italian, all right? But five generations down, it becomes ingrained within the American culture. You think about the food hamburgers and hot dogs, that was originally German, all right? But now it's been associated with the American culture. So I guess if my culture was seen as popular, such as like boba or like noodles, all right, that can eventually go down the line as American culture itself and how the new American culture is perceived.
So I think you answered my question then, because I said how far. My question was like how far along the road of generations is it until it becomes American? So wouldn't it
How
still be Asian or wherever, Vietnamese,
it'd
Chinese,
be
or
it'd be
Japanese
American now. It'd be American
by now?
by now. No, 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 not
It's
yet, not yet.
still from wherever it
Let's give it
origins
let's give
from.
it a few generations, all right? If it survives by then, like pasta, then yeah,
Okay, got you. So
yeah.
I actually think we probably agree on the same thing then, because you're still I would still consider you Vietnamese. I wouldn't even call you American. You're Vietnamese.
You're right. Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
Dominican and Puerto Rican. But then let's say our kids, so three generations, they're American then. They're not really fucking any tied to any roots at that point, unless they're talking to me and I still know a little bit of Spanish that I know.
I'm also noticing like you guys are heavy on where you guys are from. Like I'm noticing that I'm not. Like you guys are saying, yeah, I'm from here. I'm from here. I mean, I'd consider, yeah, I'm an American. I was born here. That's my perception or my perspective. It's like, yeah, I was born here, and with like that, you were saying the international students you were having conversations with. Yeah, I feel like I would agree too. But also it's because I think it's because of my programming. Like my mom wasn't as, let's say they kind of say like American washed, right?
Is she from
Yeah,
Cambodia
my
directly?
no, 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 my mom was born here. My dad was
Oh,
actually born in
so you're second
Thailand.
generation.
Yeah, I'm second
Got it.
generation. So that could make sense, right? Which makes sense. So I think that's why I maybe had a different perspective of answering this question from you guys, because I went directly to what people perceived me as, and you guys went from like, oh, I'm from here, I'm from this and that with my family, my culture.
Because we're first generations, right? You're first. I'm first generation. Okay, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
got it,
I'm
got it.
second gen. Yeah. So it makes sense, right? I feel like that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense, actually. Okay, so yeah, I guess this kind of does answer my question then.
All right, let me ask you this, Nikki. Since you're a second generation, we put heavy emphasis on culture and identity. Do you ever feel like you're not Asian enough or you're missing out on your identity?
Yeah, you know how like, when you meet certain people, you're like, oh, this guy's a little slower than this person. Yeah, I feel a little slower. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I still go to Bon, which means like it temples. For TLC, right? For Khmer New Year, whatnot. Do I know how to speak the language? Yes, I do. But at this point in my life, I know how to speak more Spanish than I do Cambodian, and that's not because the lack of me speaking Khmer. Actually, it is. It's because of my job environment. I just live in a demographic where it's predominantly Spanish people. So if anything, I've practiced so much more Spanish than it's been Cambodian simply because of how it's correlated into my lifestyle. So, and also, bro, where'd you go to high school?
Me
Yeah,
here in the
here.
city. I don't want to air out the
Okay,
school.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, there's certain areas that will teach you Khmer, right? And back in my hometown where I moved to New Hampshire. They're not gonna teach you Cambodian in New Hampshire. You know what I mean? Like where I was living, they were teaching you Cambodian. You had to take like Khmer classes in order to pass and go to the next level or whatnot. When I was living in New Hampshire, bro, no Spanish, French, boom, bada bing, bada boom. You know what I mean? So it's just like even now on my day to day basis, bro, like I probably use 2% of my Khmer. The last time I spoke Khmer was probably when I was working with you in that other store. You know what I mean? And I spoke Spanish today. Like I speak Spanish every single day. So it's just like, do I feel left out to answer your question? I don't think I really feel left out. Like my family doesn't hate me. You know what I mean? Like when I go to like my family doesn't think anything less than me. Like even with my grandma, my grandma's friends or whatnot, I still hold conversations with them. They don't look at me any lesser than a person just because I'm second generation or anything like
So
that.
would you ever go visit Cambodia and
I
just
have
soul
visited
search? Oh, okay,
Cambodia.
okay, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would go again.
How did they perceive you when you went down there?
Well, I think first, like seeing that I'm part of the family, they're like, "Oh wow, how's it like in America?" So I think that's like their first, like, "Oh wow, he's from America. I want to know what it's like." But I don't think I really looked at what people were looking at that time. So I was sophomore year of high school. That's when I went. So I didn't really have an awareness of how people were perceiving me. Um, to answer your question, but I don't think I was getting weird looks. I wouldn't really see a way why I would get weird looks. Maybe by the way I was dressing, and at the third world country, maybe at the time. So yeah, to answer your question,
Okay,
follow up, no.
go ahead.
Okay, how about this? Do you feel like when you have a kid, okay, when you have a kid, right, with another woman, it doesn't have to be Cambodian or anything, because either way, the kid's gonna be Cambodian.
Yeah.
Don't you want to put an emphasis on your culture? You don't feel like there's a need to put them onto the right track of where you originated from? You know, more than just looks. When I go to Vietnam, the way I speak, the way I talk, they think I'm already out of place. They already know that they don't even perceive me as one of them anymore. They perceive me as American at this point.
Yeah.
That's really my question for you. You don't feel left out because you don't really interact with all of them all the time? But let's say you did interact with Asian communities or other people such as immigrants. There would be this pressure to want to conform.
Yeah. That's a great point because I'm not connected to a lot of the Asian communities, especially those from like directly from the source. But I also wanted to point out like you said you'd want to put your kid on the right track. What do you mean right track? Like I want to understand right
I'm
track.
guessing the right track would be necessarily like, oh, I'm Hispanic, and if I don't speak Spanish, they probably low key inherently might not consider me Spanish.
All right, so then I would go back to the what, like why does that matter? Like why like
It
I
might
would ask
matter
that.
to them though,
That's what I'm saying.
and
Like why? So I would ask you, right? Why do you care about what I'm doing with my son?
I mean, from if I was a friend, I don't give a fuck. But
Right.
if I was a family member, I might low key be like, oh, why aren't you passing on the torch
The torch
of our culture?
of our culture.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So at that point, I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna possibly. It's kind of the way that my mom's been bringing me up, right? Like who I am today. Do I see anything less than my mom? Does my mom see any different view from my grandmother? No. And I think it's just super interesting because like I've never really thought about it like this. But if I were to have a child, would I continue to do my best to speak Cambodian or whatnot and learn the tradition and go through the history? Absolutely. I've gone through the history before. I've done plenty of projects. I've interviewed my grandma plenty of times. She's told me all the stories. We went through the concentration camps with her, right? So it's not like I'm lacking education through these certain topics or whatnot. I just feel as if it's not as a strong not as passionate as maybe somebody is from the actual motherland, right? Because I'm born here. I'm born in an American family who I was English first language, right? Like my grandma speaks great, perfect English here. She got sponsored here, so she went through schooling and whatnot, and she just had a great opportunity. And I don't know if I'm really like putting my point across, but I think that if I were to have a child, I would do my best to still put an effect or influence of our tradition.
I got a question for you. So, do you have a sense of nationalism?
Nationalism?
So nationalism's like, I'm American. If anyone fucks with America, you're fucking with me type shit. Like you have a sense of you have an attachment to America.
If I were to, it would have to be at the point where we're about to go to war and I'll fight for our country.
So would you only get involved if it's only
At that point,
yeah.
at this moment, yeah.
Okay, so you do have a sense of nationalism towards America, but not so much Cambodia.
Same thing. Same exact thing.
So do
Like
you,
if the roles were switched, you know what I mean? Like if I had to go to war for Cambodia, I absolutely would too.
okay, but like right now, current day, you have more of a
I would
nationalist
honestly
idea.
say it would be more catered towards America
Got you. So do you
Yeah.
identify more as an American?
as an American. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That is a great question.
Yeah, so I identify more with the Americanness because, I mean, if you go back to Vietnamese history, yeah, like we got taken over by communism and all that, so my family fled. So obviously I'm more American, but I also again grew up in a more liberal city, so I was able to point out the flaws. But I'm still proud to be American because I realize a lot of countries, even though we complain a lot about our issues in our countries, at least we have the freedom of speech to speak about. We look like a mess to them, but the reason why people are criticizing us is because a lot of the other countries don't even want to speak up about their own issues, their own race issues, and at least we're trying to address the issues, which I find something valiant, which is why I'm like kind of pro-American, like kind of nationalistic. Like I'm proud of us, even though we're a mess. We're the best fucking mess. We're trying to fix ourselves right now, and yeah, I mean, I want Spade's opinion about the whole culture, ethnicity, your nationalism, well, your nationalism
I
level.
want to say this too, because
Yeah.
you guys, you would say, would you say you're, because you said you're not, we wouldn't consider yourself more American. You'd say you're from DR, yeah? Especially you're saying that conversation you're having
I
with a
actually
gentleman.
won't say that I'm more
Because you
Dominican.
got hurt from it. You
Yeah, I
got hurt
did.
from
I
it,
did.
right? And you too. You're saying that you're a little bit more cultured. At least you say I'd say you're more cultured than me in terms of like
Nah, that's cap. I'm kind of more like you. I've hung around a lot of Dominicans, so like if it came to Asian people, like I could relate more to Andy instead of like Asian people. So the lo mío personal.
my question was just gonna be like, do you send money to your country? Do you send
I
different
don't.
products?
I don't.
or
So
anything?
I don't send products, but my mom does
Word.
give aid here and
But
there.
now look at the correlation to that. Like your mom has a bigger correlation to the motherland than you do, right? Makes sense. So you're first gen, but I'm second gen. You know what I mean? My mom, I don't even think my mom does that. If anything, like she gives it when my grandma goes, and that's because my grandma's going, right? So my grandma sends money all the time. My grandma, I have free lines on my account. My grandma's giving away phones to Cambodia. You know what I mean? And I say that to say this because I notice a whole bunch of my older relatives do that, right? And it's like I don't do that. Does that make me any less of a person? Maybe. but no, I don't do that. So I want to know if you guys do that, because you guys like, oh, I'm from here, and that's my source, blah blah blah. I consider myself American.
Do you talk to any people from Cambodia still?
I don't.
Okay, so
Only when my grandma's FaceTiming them, I'm saying, "Suksa bye." That's it.
got you. Yeah, no, I still have connections with people in DR actually, and it just so happens that they're not my direct.
But again, I still don't think that makes me any less of a person.
No, it definitely doesn't make you
Not
less
any
than a
less
person.
of a person. I'm sorry. But you get the idea of what I'm saying.
It doesn't make you less than a Cambodian
Yeah.
because you still identify as
sure.
Cambodia. But I also would say you still are second generation, so you still have ties.
Yeah.
While as your kids is probably more than likely not going to speak Cambodian, so they
Which I
can.
think is just inevitable. But right, it's a controllable that you have, right? It's definitely a controllable. If I were known to be a man that stayed or had more influence of his country and more projected more of that influence of his country and pass that on to my children, then they would have been like, oh, I'm gonna take after my pops and do the same thing, right? Obviously, that's a controllable. But is that happening? No.
Gotcha. Um, I guess we should move on to our next question because this was a
That was
loaded
good. That was
one.
great though. That was
Yeah,
good. That's cool. Just
awesome.
found out a second generation, huh?
Mm-hmm. All right. Fourth question. Sorry.
Should we skip that? Do you really want to ask it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I have a reason why I want to ask.
Okay.
TikTok. Is it good or is it bad? So actually, I actually don't want to start off because I don't want to like start giving people ideas. I guess just more or less, just give me your ideas. So just think about it for a few seconds. TikTok, it was made. I'll give you a little backstory. It's made by a company that is associated to the Chinese government and Tencent. At one point, Donald Trump wanted to completely outlaw the platform in America because some of TikTok's terms and services actually allows them to enter in your phone, your emails, your phone numbers, your contacts list, et cetera, et cetera. The list can go fucking on and on and on and on. It's like Facebook times 100. Yes, they can go into anything you can think of just because you have the app on your phone. Anything you have on your phone, they can tap into everything else because you have TikTok on your phone. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. So I'm just simply just giving people backstory. Um, TikTok, nonetheless, is a Facebook, and at one point, a lot of people were throwing some shade towards Facebook because of this exact thing, and they even brought them to court. Nonetheless, though, that's the backstory a little bit on TikTok on why I asked whether it's good or bad. Don't let what I told you sway your answer. Nonetheless, just give it just based off of your interactions on the app and how do you think it's been affecting the social media world positively? And what are some positives you guys see later down the future? And how you see it affects children also because it's like Coco Melon. It's like fucking crack. You're just gonna keep fucking scrolling on that bitch and nonstop. You know what I'm saying? And I even have friends that are addicted to it. But nonetheless, though, what are you guys' opinion on it? Good or bad?
Do you have TikTok? You don't? Do you have TikTok? Okay, I have TikTok. And I'll just go generally. I think content creation is one of the greatest things that's available. Reason why, because my perspective of it is I see it as inspiration too. I see it in terms of my creative abilities and seeing other creative people that are creating or influencing these types of different products, services, or lifestyles. So I think it's the idea of how you can perceive something and how you're consuming something in terms of like whatever platform it may be. But TikTok, do I think it's overall good? Do I ever think it's bad? I don't know. I think it's the idea of what your intention is for it. I see on the bad side of things, I see that it's a platform that produces an insane amount of content every single day that's consumed. I don't even know the numbers, but I'm sure it's absolutely insane numbers every second of the day. I do understand that the attention span of these videos are pretty fast, kind of like Vine, like 7-second videos or whatnot. So I could say that on a bad side of things, like our attention span could be dropping from that, right? And then on the other side of things, how I would use it is in terms of inspiration. There was a day that when Andy and I first met, we were hitting the gym together. I sent him a TikTok for inspiration, simply because it was a quote, had some badass music, and it was just a guy that had a crazy physique. Spades didn't want to go to the gym, and I said, "Thank you for not going to the gym." That's what the TikTok says. Thank you not for going to the gym. I'm getting better than you. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes it could be a way even to communicate things even effectively without having to say anything, right? Because the video just said it all. So that's my perspective of it. Like the idea of what your intention could be for that type of platform, specifically TikTok that you're using. I don't know about the legal stuff in terms of the terms and conditions. I really don't know, but for myself, yeah.
I think general in terms of what you said to the TikTok terms and agreements where they're taking your information, that's happening with all social medias. We just happen to buy it. Now it's owned under an American organization. But reason why I don't have TikTok is because I know my brain is susceptible to getting addicted easily to things such as short content. And although Nikki does make a good point about how there are positives to it, I would overall weigh the negatives being way more than the outcomes of the positive. You can make creative content, but I mean, do you find fulfillment? Do you find like an overall career in it? No. I mean, some people do use it to like promote music, but I mean, most of the TikTok users are consumers at the end of the day, and most of them are children getting on it. And I just don't think I think the whole idea of having a bad attention span is really important because that's where the anxiety comes in. If you like, let's say you were watching a bunch of TikTok every day, and then you had to read a book in school, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, you can't even stay down to read one page. What the fuck? Like, you need more attention span. You don't like, I just don't find it healthy to be on TikTok all day and just scrolling through your mind, and then you're like burnt out at the end of the day to even do anything. Um, yeah.
Oh, it was mine. Don't worry. Keep going.
All right. Um, I don't know. I don't find TikTok healthy.
Yeah, you're saying that a lot of people, your basis or the premise of what you're saying is that a lot of people are just being consumers rather than seeking inspiration and actually creating something worth living for after that, or finding like an active income with this product or service rather. I mean, shit, we could say the same about these brick and mortar businesses, right? Like the world that we're living in today, bro. Not everybody's a distributor. People are consumers, right? Having being in a capitalist country, there's products and services that are being distributed every day. You can either sell it or you can either be a consumer of it. So I kind of actually see it's the same shit as that. TikTok just happens to be a platform of a different product and a service that people are utilizing that's in this marketplace, right? This is a controllable. You are able to use this content and become a producer or distributor from it, or you could just be a consumer. In this world, most people are consumers, and it's just the numbers and the way that the statistics are. Most people are consumers rather than distributors.
So I actually want to go to that point that you stated was it being like a brick and mortar scenario, how businesses and people tend to consume a lot more than distribute. Um, all right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think TikTok is having like a huge mental health effect on them? Do you think TikTok is having a huge mental health effect on people? Because I think, like, even though it is like consumer, like at the end of the day, there's more consumers than providers. But are the long term effects worth it?
I could ask the same question about people working a 9 to 5 job.
But we are contributing more when we work a 9 to 5 because we have priorities such as making food for ourselves or helping our children. TikTok is more for the benefit of entertainment or maybe information, but most of all just entertainment. I don't really think there is more benefits to that other than some inspiration, but yeah, continue.
I mean, I could ask like how much you use of another social media outside. Like you don't use TikTok, so let's say like what
Instagram.
what other social medias do you use?
Uh,
Let's say you have your own
yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
Same thing, right?
it is true, true, true. Shit, you got me there. You got me there. I don't really
And,
know
and
what to
the
say.
and the reason why I say that is simply because at this moment you're not in a position to have that as your active income. But what are you doing? You're using your valuable time and energy to produce, right, or even consume different ideas from different creators on YouTube, right? Like you're a very intelligent person who's very educated about certain topics, very knowledgeable. That has to come from somewhere. From what? Your time and your energy being invested into something else that's not paying you back.
I think to the point what I was gonna say about TikTok and specifically was like the fact that people might make money or monetization off their TikToks is very small percentage of people in comparison to the actual company. So the company, in my eyes, are the real benefactors in this whole scenario of content creation on their platform. Their platform is just expanding, blowing up. They're receiving an insurmountable amount of partnership deals. They're reaping incredible benefits in comparison to like a who's the number one TikToker is a black guy that does the fucking he does like those simplistic videos where he
Is it the black guy? It's like, is
exactly
that
exactly
think
exactly
that guy? This could be way easier if you just did this.
that guy,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's number one TikToker in the world, and he's probably fucking getting insane benefits. He's making bank, and with that being said, though, it's like
1%, just like in anything, you can be. It's possible to be the 1% because it's the 1%, right? You're given a chance and an opportunity to do so, just like any other marketplace in this world.
yeah, and I feel like TikTok, in my eyes, I find that TikTok seems to be the number one benefactor in all fronts, and of course, they're the company, they own the technology, and I just don't see TikTok to be a good thing, in my opinion. I find it to be a lot worse than well, I don't even find YouTube to be bad. I find YouTube to actually be really good because the attention span varies. Yeah, because it has long term
Yeah.
content. And so you can actually, yeah, so like you can watch an hour video and you can actually more than likely retain that information versus a fucking 2 minute how to cook. Fair enough. They do have that, correct. I just
So would you say that would you say that if TikTok implemented a way to consume longer videos, it wouldn't be as popular?
it definitely wouldn't.
Okay. So, I mean, to be fair, like YouTube just created shorts too. So like, what's a rebuttal for that?
So I mean,
Obviously, I assume that the average user for YouTube Shorts isn't like Instagram, but for myself, I've watched YouTube Shorts before as well.
yeah, but I usually, me personally, I usually do not watch YouTube Shorts in comparison to Instagram Reels or TikToks, right? And so I find it to be, I look towards YouTube for information. I looked for TikTok for entertainment. I look at Instagram for connections. So that's my point of view on those platforms.
Makes sense. Intention.
Can I just say this? Can we just agree though that TikTok is addicting and it could be, the reason why a lot of kids aren't going out to socialize as much?
Bro, I've met people who will literally fucking sit on their phone and just scroll, and hours will pass. Hold on, the fucking film just shut off. Let's continue on the lavaliers. But yeah, I found that people that are on TikTok, they just fucking scroll nonstop, and it's low key a problem. It's kind of worrying sometimes. I look at them, I'm like, bro, have you been outside? Have you been actually doing something else besides just watching TikToks for this amount of time? And it's worrying. But and I'm gonna be real, people that watch TikToks on the daily, I would shouldn't generalize, but I would generalize and most likely not pit them next to. I would never expect from them to watch a fucking hour-long movie. I'll never invite them to a movie theaters.
Sorry.
It's okay. Let me just.
So my question to that was like prior to TikToks, right? To TikToks being a thing, what would you guys do to entertain yourselves? And I have a follow-up question to that.
Okay. What would I do to entertain myself? I personally would fucking play video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do. Or watch anime.
Play video games or watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is something you right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like it goes down. Like I think the biggest thing is outside of it being super consumable, the idea is you're just putting so much time and energy into something that you aren't receiving value from, something that's being a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
But I just asked this gentleman here prior to TikTok, what was he doing to entertain himself? And he gave me the answers: playing video games and anime. I'm not laughing at the fact.
but look, he's gonna argue.
But the idea isn't the fact TikTok is the problem. It's the fact that people are spending their time and energy on shit that does not matter. It's not TikTok that's the problem. Like you're focusing on something that doesn't matter.
How about this?
You don't think it's a lesser evil though?
No. Hold on. I personally do not think there's any lesser or greater evil. I think evil's evil. So, just to say, so I genuinely find that with anime, episodes are 14 minutes max, right? Without the intro and outro, 14 minutes.
Okay.
You get to the ending, bam, the episode's done. It cuts you out. You're not going on to the next one immediately.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it gives you a little bit to actually like breathe and organize your thoughts. Like, holy shit!
Are y'all still fucking? I mean, no, that's Netflix. But
Netflix.
I get it. So you have a cooldown period.
Yeah,
Right.
TikTok, it's no cooldown.
Right.
It's like Coco Melon. It's
it.
just hypnotizing.
I get it. That makes sense too. But again, the same amount of time and energy still being wasted. How many? I don't even know. I'm not a big anime like fanatic. How many sagas or
episodes
have you watched?
I'm not gonna lie, I watched the most fucking strenuous one out there.
All right,
1,000 episodes.
And the reason why I'm not saying like TikTok's good or whatnot. I'm just saying the idea behind it, the source, the cause and effect is that people are spending countless amounts of time of doing something that's super unproductive, right? Or just putting themselves in a position to consume entertainment rather than doing something that's more productive in giving them value, right? So I think that there's plenty of things that people focus on in this world, and TikTok happens to be one of them. Has it made the problems worse? Yeah, I think so. It's a fucking another product that's out here on the marketplace for people to consume. You're giving more people more options, and that's the problem. That's the thing about capitalism too. Like, you're creating these products and services to make it inconvenient for other people to consume. So I don't think it's the fact that it's just TikTok. I think it's the fact that it's people.
How about this? I find that TikTok is very addicting because it's very easily accessible, and the UI is so well done.
And I can agree. Okay, I can agree with that. I agree with that.
Because I could just open up the app right now on my phone and just start scrolling. While as anime, I have to load that bitch up.
I could be watching porn right here too, though. Like I could do that right now. Like, I could pull it up. It's just conveniency, right? People pay for conveniency. Having these products don't make it any, like, it makes it super easy for us. Like,
okay. So I think it's bad.
I think it's bad. I think TikTok is literally cigarettes, and things that we watch are like more like vapes. All right, it's worse. It's worse for your mental health. Let's be honest here. It's worse. Guess what? But you're gonna get cancer faster.
You're gonna die. You're both gonna be dead.
We're gonna outlive you by a few more years, maybe. A few more. Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think TikTok is bad. I agree. However, what's really bad is the fact that people are spending their times doing things that they shouldn't be doing. That's what it is. That's the source. You are the source. TikTok is not the source. We are the source. You, as an individual, is the source.
Okay. So hold on. Actually, never mind. That's out of pocket. Let me keep to myself. All right. I think we come to that conclusion. Yeah. How about we move on to our next question?
So I guess we ended TikTok as bad, but Nikki, I mean, what was your reasoning? Well, what's your...
TikTok is bad. However, I think the real source is the people, not the application.
Okay, I'm just pointing fingers at the fucking corpse. They're geniuses. They know how to keep you hooked like crack. That's my opinion. So
I mean, like school, like, it's not education, it's teachers.
Okay, all right. Now, second question. Not second. Fifth question. Is it? Oh, all right. Let's go with this one, because I was actually having a conversation with someone on this one question. Are filters key players in mental health? In parentheses, depression. So, to talk about filters, some people be like, yo, what the fuck do you mean filters? You guys know Instagram filters, Snapchat filters, Facebook story filters, filters on even your camera now they've put into the fucking the UI of their iPhone or Android. Now you have your own filters that are at the disposal at your hands, right? And you can make yourself look like a whole different fucking person now. Do you think this is like a key player into depression? Like, there's many factors in social media that affect people's mental health, but I genuinely find that filters and things of that nature that change your face and your physical looks for women is actually like one of the main factors as to why depression is fucking skyrocketing, even though men do have a larger percentage of depression than women. But nonetheless, I do think it's one of the key factors. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think filters play a key role in the mental health issue, but let's be honest here. The first ever filter was makeup. And if we think about it, everything that stems down from this is insecurity. So what do we do to try to cope with ourselves? We add filters and makeup. Filters is just an effect. It's not like a cause of a mental health. It's more of a symptom that's already in place. So yeah, I mean, filters does play a key role in mental health, but I wouldn't say it's the biggest role in it at the end of the day.
My question would be, would you guys consider, like, working out a filter to complement an insecurity? That's why I worked out. Do I feel better? Do I look better? More mass? Slightly more ripped? Better physique? Yeah.
Do you get haircuts to look better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Makeup's definitely a filter. I don't think it's the first. I don't know what the first one is. I I see both sides. Women have makeup, they do nails, lashes, blah blah blah. Men have different things, haircuts, we work out, jewelry, earrings. This, like, we're living avatar. We're avatars, bro. I mean, I think it's completely normal, but I think in the terms of like what you're asking, like with mental illnesses, yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it definitely has a direct correlation to that.
I think the difference between working out and putting on a filter is that filters, you don't have to put work into it, all right? There's no fulfillment behind that. But when it comes to working out, it's like once you reach your ideal body, you put in the work for it. You feel you've climbed that mountain, all right? There's actual like it's not going to like hurt you physically. Like it's not going to hurt your physical like or mental health. Because at the end of the day, there's proven like studies that say that working out actually does help you mentally.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, like body dysmorphia is huge too. Like for me, if I'm taking a picture, like a thirst trap or something, I'm gonna do it like when I'm pumped. When I gotta pump right after the gym, I'm not gonna take it now. Like, you know what I mean? Like same thing with makeup. Makeup, like that's different. Like you're putting on a look intentionally, a look that you're just you have. I don't know how to really say it. I don't wear makeup, but for men, I agree too. It's like you fall in love more with the process. And I can say that working out on a physique is definitely a lot more applicable or something that you can see more long term versus makeup.
All right, let me ask this question. So, one of the main reasons why I asked this is because makeup or working out, you can see it in the flesh. Okay. You can put makeup on. You're not going to look like a whole nother person, though. You just might cover up your scars. You know what I'm saying? You might put eyeliner, so it makes your face a little bit more thinner here and there. I don't know my fucking makeup. Nonetheless, it won't change you so much to the point where you look indistinguishable from your actual person. Okay? While as filters literally fucking change your whole face. If you guys, there's certain filters that will so catfishing is a reason why I find filters to be even more damaging than makeup, because you can look like a whole nother person online, so much so that it wouldn't even line up with your real self. Like you can take a bunch of pictures on Instagram with just straight filters. Let's say if we were to even do like a social experiment, we gave one person and said, hey, use only filters on all your pictures and all your stories. And then I guarantee you with the people that they do end up linking up, they're going to be like, yo, you don't even look like what you look like online. While as if I'm working out or if I'm putting on makeup, you can still see I'm the same person, and I might look a little bit different, but not so much so you're like, you're not even the same person that I was fucking falling in love with online.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we stirred up topic slightly, but I agree. I agree.
I disagree with you when you say that makeup can't change you that much. Dude, makeup can really, really change you that much, bro. Have you ever seen those like short videos where like those Chinese guys are in the barbershop, right? And all of a sudden they got box braids? Bro, how the fuck do you do that? I think technology, like no, they literally got dreads, bro. It's crazy. Like technology and makeup, all that has gone so far that you can literally change yourself to that extent. But what was your question again?
No,
Shit.
just
What was your
it's
question?
overall the premise is.
But my question to him, are you how likely of you actually paying that $500 tab to just wear that fucking weave for the one night versus a filter being completely free and it completely dysmorphs your entire face, while as that box sprays you're only gonna wear for a week and you paid that bag? How likely is it people to actually invest into these new technologies to change the way that they look in the actual
Getting
physical?
the filter. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
You
you.
guys feel me? Like the filter's free. It's completely free. And so with it being free, it's at the disposal of so much people, and especially people that are they don't have enough money to do these new technological face dysmorphs and like Face It, like the show Face It, when they make a whole fucking entire monster or a different person with these the plastic and the silicone put on your face. Like it's just like it's not to that extent. While as filters can literally make you look like a whole nother person.
Yeah. And I say from my experience too, being on different dating apps too, it's like when you look at a woman's profile and you see that they have straight filters, like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't know about this one, right? Because you're just you exactly what you're saying. You don't know if I'm gonna be catfish for that, which is true. Filters are you're more susceptible of falling for something or perceiving this person to be what they're not, from my experience.
So yeah, I mean, filters. I genuinely find them to be like key contributors. One of the key contributing factors today, because social media overall is the factor as the reason why mental health is so high, because it keeps you from doing so many things, from being active, from wanting to take accountability, from you wanting to actually have social interactions with real life people. But filters, I find filters to be one of those pillars as to why depression is one of the main factors amongst women. Surgeries also, BBLs.
Yeah, let me tell you this. Back to the whole working out versus filters thing. Filters is like a cope, but working out is like you have it in yourself. You know how we have abs. We all have abs. I'm fat, but I still have abs under there. I'm just bringing it out. I'm working out hard enough to bring out to my best extent my God-given ability of abs. But like with filters and makeup, it's all a cope. You can't look like that. You can't hide all those acnes. You can't look clear skin with that with all those acnes. It's all cope. You're hiding under something. Where else, when you're working out, you're actually bringing out the best of yourself. Truly bringing out the best of yourself.
All right. Well, I
Less, even though with somebody who, let's say, let's say, as a man, I will not use a filter as much as women do. Why? Because, what, in my sense, what my filter is I forgot what my fucking train of thought. Just scratch that. Forget it. Next, what were you saying, bro?
are you sure? You think you're not
Yeah,
gonna
I fucking forgot, dude. Freaking frack.
fuck
Yeah.
it? Well,
It was a fucking.
so I actually do refrain from using filters. Like yesterday was a key example. I was at work. I took a fucking little selfie for Instagram. I was like, yo, I haven't posted myself in like so fucking long. Why not just post a picture? Like, fuck it. And then I swiped and I was like, should I put the filter or should I not? I was like, nah, we're not putting a filter on this bitch. I want people to actually see what I look like, even though I haven't had a haircut in like 2 or 3 weeks. Fuck it. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get no negative. Nobody's torching my ass online saying, "Yo, bro, get a cut, bro. Like you look mugs." I'm like,
You're
nah.
gonna say it, and then what now? You're gonna fight me now? Back to my back to my point, right? You're gonna say shit. What next?
So, yeah, I mean, filters. I find them to be bad overall. My advice to people: don't use them as much because
The original question is about mental disorders and being able, like, how the fact is, like, you have filters and possibly, right? Go back to the question? Sorry.
So my question was, does are filters key contribute? Is it a key component into why mental health is on the rise, in specific in depression?
Okay. So I was gonna say, so somebody that works out and doesn't use makeup filters or just filters as often, I still feel like I'm still battling my internal beliefs, or not beliefs, but my thoughts about myself too. Because it's like, what is it? I was just talking about it. Body dysmorphia, dude. That shit's tough, right? So that's why I also work out, like, to not only look good naked, but also the fact, like, I like what I look like when I have a pump. You know what I mean? So I think that still correlates to mental disorder. Obviously, there's different there heights of it, right? Like, you're not completely masking what you're looking like. Of course, you're putting hard work, dedication, and intention into something. But I still see somewhat of a correlation of, like, not mental disorder, but having some sort of, not illness, but what could we say? Some sort of banter within your thoughts.
So like negative ants. So negative ants by psychology. If you guys look it up.
That
Yeah, I guess
because it's I'd say it's more of a controllable.
I agree. So I mean, yeah. I mean, do you guys have any more closing thoughts? This is our last topic of the day. Do you have any AirTrek? Put the microphone up to your face.
Yeah, just follow me, AirTrek, AIR spacebar TREK on YouTube. Profile right now is Russell, the little fat kid from Up. Instagram, KatoFlix, KDO_FLICKS. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Nikki? Just put your socials again, even though I'm still gonna put them up for all of us. Hold on, repeat that. Repeat that.
Nikki season, every season. Y'all know my socials about to be popping up. You already know. Thank you guys for tuning in. I want to do a live. We should do a live one, like with an audience, like whether it's on Instagram, Twitch, or whatever. I feel like that'd be really cool too.
Yeah, we should definitely do live streams on YouTube, and I'm actually contemplating on doing the whole YouTube live stream on a consistent.
Because I feel like, don't get me wrong, I feel like our conversations were great, but I feel like they could just be, we just talk to ourselves, and I feel like we have a similar mindset or certain perspectives on certain things. I just believe that there could be so much more better things to discuss, or a lot more interesting things to discuss, especially with other people.
I mean, I found that this time we actually were disagreeing a whole lot.
I agree for
You
sure.
know?
But I just know that there's also like a time crunch here. But I also believe that there's just more content to create, more conversations to be had. Yeah, Nikki season on all platforms. NICKYSZN.
Gotcha. I'm gonna put that right above his head. AirTrek right over there too. And then for me, you can find me at iSpadesL, literally on any fucking platform. Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hopefully you guys like this podcast. Let us know or some topics. What were some things that you didn't like? What are some things that you did like? Please let us know down below. Make sure you hit that comment section and just give us your honest opinions overall. Look forward for more of this, honestly, because we're just gonna keep adding more and more different guests, you know, and who knows, we might end up just having a fucking panel of mad people on Zoom and then having a physical cast. Nonetheless, the horizon is well above us. We'll see you guys next time on the next video. Thank you for being here.